It's been a while. The first 3 recordings that I made were effortless. They gushed and flowed out of me. Without needing to force anything. I made no notes. Each word followed the other almost by necessity. But that is not quite correct. It was as if I strolled through a mental landscape that had crystallized, taken shape, so there was no need for me to remember anything, because the position where I found myself informed how the rest of the environment would configure itself. So maybe a nice mental image would be as I take a step into nothingness, the environment appears in the same moment that I touch it. As my foot reaches where the floor is supposed to be, it manifests. Yes, I like this image a lot. The thought of the forest god in Princess Mononoke just came to me as with each step he takes, life forms and decays. There are many reasons why I did not continue right away with my recordings. I have some ongoing projects that took up most of my focus. And more importantly, after I finished the talk on resonance, I knew that it was necessary for me to attune myself with the concept of dissonance. And this is something I refused to do, that I did not want to do, or maybe that I could not do, for it's quite lovely being in a resonant state. Yes, quite lovely indeed. A lot of creative energy is there. And at the time, I was not in need to destroy something. Quite the contrary. In the meantime, I have found something that I want to destroy. But it will be very difficult. And it will take a lot of time. And it will need the participation of that which I want to destroy. Yes, that is the trickiest part about it. For brute force can only destroy certain things. But to break up fully, totally, the thing that you wish to break into its components so that you may reconfigure them needs, at least on a few levels, to want to be destroyed. I also noticed that having walked through the first 3 points, I noticed that there is a barrier connecting to the 4th. This barrier has many names as well. Some call it the abyss. A refraction. So I found that my flow that carried itself would become distorted. And that is something that I do not enjoy. I feel my train of thought distorting as well. So I will eat a clementine and tell a story. So the story is from around the time where I put up my last recording, where when I was still working at the ravioli place. So one day I had a longer break. Oh, now that I remember, it was actually maybe the day after I first met the cook, the soup cook. I think it was the day after. So I had a longer break, and I went for a stroll, for a walk. I enjoy walking around my city, getting to know it. So I walk around, and there's like a street where the most of the people walk around. There's like shops, like cute small shops with kind of unique things to sell along a very long, not really an alley, but kind of. So anyways, there's like a stream of people going in both directions. And after my walk, as I was returning to my place of work, I walk along the main current of window shoppers, I guess. And on the side of the main current, I see a girl. She had blonde hair, and she was sitting on, like, just beside, and next to her was a boy. So the girl, she was crying. She was sad. And she was crying in a way where it seemed that it would take maybe a couple more minutes before she could enter a more composed state, I guess. And the boy, it was obvious that he was trying to comfort her, but while not really succeeding, he offered support by his presence. So when I saw the girl, my first reaction was to turn away, to turn my gaze away from her, because people that are sad, and especially people that are crying, they don't want people looking at them. I guess they don't want people to see them in a vulnerable state, because the witness maybe renders the whole experience even realer, as opposed to crying by yourself alone in some dark room. I think we can argue that it is less real. It's very hard to talk about reality in such terms. It's just that maybe we can use the concept of the lie. The more witnesses there are to a certain event, the harder it becomes to lie about it, to distort the memory. Because I think we can agree that it is quite easy to lie to yourself, especially in matters of memory. So I averted my gaze, but also my body followed this movement by putting my hands in the pocket of my coat, my lovely coat. And in the right pocket of my coat, I felt the presence of a clementine. And I thought, my mind thought, reached in the far past of my memory and pulled up the image and the concept of the followers of Krishna. And one of their rituals is that they offer gifts to strangers, most commonly in the form of a fruit. And they ask nothing in return. It is an act of kindness, of loving kindness, a gift. So I did not even think about how to act. It was quite... the action flowed on by itself. So I changed my course. I strayed from the main current of the window shoppers and headed straight towards her. And as I got closer, I took out my hand from my coat and presented the clementine in its orange brilliance. And at the time I had my headphones in and I was listening to music, to the song I was vibing to at the time. And the closer I got, as I was almost in front of her, her hand instinctively, as if by magnetism, reached out to receive the gift. So, without exchanging any words, I put the clementine in her hand, looked her in the eyes, gave her a smile, and walked on. I did not even hear if she said anything. And as I walked off, I felt good. And it put a smile on my face. So from that point, the clementines, which at that time, it's Christmas time, And that fruit in particular is almost always included in some sort of Santa gift alongside the peanut. There's peanuts, there's clementines. Like there is, I don't know if it's in English as well, the mandarin or something. In German, anyways, there's two different forms. There's the clementine and die Mandarine. It doesn't matter. Okay. So, following from my action of this gift of kindness, the gift of reassurance that the tears will pass, and maybe even offering distraction in needing to peel the clementine. And when you open it, the way it is constructed, by peeling away the rind, spurts of juice, and maybe it's not even juice, like oils maybe, jump out of the inner part of the fruit and let loose the perfume of the fruit. Sometimes it goes into your eye and stings a bit. Yeah. So this object, this fruit, filled with almost only water, had become something else. It had gained strength or force, or it had gained access to influence more planes than I had attributed to it before. And I like this idea very much. So from that point on, for the next week or so, I made sure to carry such a clementine, such a fruit on me, in the pocket of my coat. And it made me think about the concept of the gift, of the present. And one of the loveliest ways to think of the present is pertaining to the category of actions. In German, there is the word Handlung, which can be translated as action. But the stem of the word, die Hand, is the hand. So the action, the German language tells us, is something that is accomplished with the instrument of the hand. But die Handlung is a composed word. And the second part is the Lung. And this makes me think of the lung. Die Lunge, it's called in German. So the action, if we look at the word even more closely, can be thought of as the combination of the hand and the lung, which is quite a nice picture. So, the most glorious form of action is that of the present. An action that asks for no response, for no payment. The gift as opposed to the favor. The favor that does indeed ask to be returned. Okay, so to the people that I wanted to, I have to say it in another way. I noticed that by giving people a fruit, you also give them joy in some form. Maybe it lasts for a couple of minutes, maybe it echoes into the future as well. Okay, so since I had gained an even greater joy for this particular fruit, I started eating a lot of it. And I noticed that my body reacted to this sudden surge of vitamin C and acid. So my stomach felt acidic, and it was not such a pleasant feeling. At this point, I want to jump to the next story in the the next story of the Clementine. So a couple of days later, I went to the grocery store to buy clementines. And as I went to the checkout, here we have like a system where you don't interact with a human to pay for the things that you buy. You go to the machine, you scan it yourself, and then you pay it yourself, and then you just walk out. It's an interesting system, and I don't know how many other countries use it. And I heard that, in fact, here in Switzerland, they tried to implement it maybe 20 years prior, but they stopped because they noticed that people were stealing too much. But somehow, it's working nowadays. So it must mean that there has been some shift in consciousness, in the zeitgeist, as you might refer to it. So, as I was scanning my fruits and other stuff, I noticed that there was a purse. I don't know if that's really the best word, but you know, the thing where you keep your money in, your coins and your bills. So one of those had been forgotten in the exact place where I was paying for my stuff. And in Switzerland, it is to be expected, and it's very common, that such forgotten objects will not be stolen. They will, in fact, not even be acknowledged. They will, in the same manner I instinctively turned away from the crying girl, they will be dismissed. And the typical Swiss person will go along the trodden path of the window shoppers. Follow the current. So I grabbed the purse, opened it up, looked inside and saw whom it belonged to. And I looked through all the cards that were stored there. And there was a student card. So I knew where I could bring the purse to, so that it will surely and safely return to the owner. I saw that it was a young person, and there was an interesting card there was all the normal stuff, like card for public transport, card for the bank card and stuff. There was some money as well, some coins and maybe $10 or something like that in there. But let me just look for the card. I have it here somewhere. Yeah. Okay, I will read it to you. Like on the one hand, on the one side, there's just a picture of a lot of peanuts. And on the other side, I will read it to you. It is called The Nut Pass 2021 to 22. And then below it says, for No Nut November. And then even further below it says, user of card can nut where and whenever he wants. In class or on an airplane. There is a question mark here. Of course, even there, enjoy. If renewal wanted, $200 per hour of use. Okay, so there is a law in my country which a law that concerns a reward for lost things. And it is it is stated that the finder of a lost object has a right to 10% of its worth. So I did not want money. I wanted this card. So I took it. I decided for myself that my reward will be this nut pass for No Nut November. And as I told you before, I like to walk and stuff, and in that way I get to know my surroundings in detail. So I knew exactly where the school was around where I live. So I started walking there. And as I walked, I put the cards in my pocket, in my possession, and started going to the school, or walking towards it. When I arrived there, I saw that like the whole campus was a no smoke zone. So I waited a bit until my cigarette was finished, and it was quite a large campus. I had no idea where I would find the reception. So I waited for the first student to cross my path, and I asked, young man, can you please show me to where the reception is? Here it's called the secretariat, the secretary of the school. And like he was a kind of shy young boy. Yeah, mister, sure, look, it's over there. Yeah, I'll take you there. So he guided the way. He took me there and made sure that I knew exactly where to go. And since I had gotten into the habit of giving away fruits, and I just came from the store and had a huge bag of it in my rucksack, in my sack that I carry along. I said to him, "Yo, young boy, I'd like to give you a present, a gift for helping me." And he like looked at me, and already his body kind of started to shy away from me even further. And he said like, no, it's okay, no, it's okay, it's there's no need. And like I really had trouble understanding his reaction, because I mean, if someone offered me a present, I would be happy to accept it. And like I said, no, it's just a fruit. It's just a fruit that I would give you. Oh, no, it's okay. So then, like after a couple of seconds, I thought, or I began to understand more clearly how probably he perceived the situation, like a stranger. Like, all mothers, or like most of the mothers and teachers, will tell the young children, never accept any gifts from a stranger ever, because I don't know, they will poison you and and kidnap you and fucking rape you. Yeah. Quite an interesting lesson to impart to a growing person. Seeds of mistrust. So like I had forgotten it, but I myself was told this rule when I was a young boy: not to follow a stranger, not to accept the gifts of a stranger. And in the state I was in, enjoying the act of giving without expecting a reward, that was quite a sad realization. So I entered the school and found my way to the secretariat. And even before I reached it, one of the adults, it was a woman, and she had heels, and you could hear her tack 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 walking through the halls. Hello, sir. How may I help you? Yeah, I'm looking for the secretariat. I found like the purse, the money holding thing from one of your students. Okay. So she leads me inside, and at the front desk there's a fat lady, and she kind of waddles towards me and asks me the exact same question. And I tell her again, if I want to return a lost object. But I asked her also for some paper and a pen, because I wanted to leave a message to this boy that I had lost his purse. And she complied, gave me the paper and the pen, and as I was starting to write, like on the desk, she did not move away or look away. No, she leaned in closer to like make the effort to read my writing in reverse, because I don't know, she must have felt some kind of protective instinct of making sure that this strange man that would strangely return something that was lost would not write something horrible, predatory, or maybe even, I don't know. Okay, so it was a strange situation. I thought for a moment to tell her that this message is not meant for her, and that I question her right to read it. But I did not say that, because in a way I kind of respected this motherly energy of making sure that all is in order. So I wrote him that I found your things, and if you want to tell me something, I give you here my email address. Like, I did not, it's kind of a funny situation. I don't want to. I don't want thanks. I did this because it felt right and because I wanted to do it. And because nobody else would do it. And if I had left that purse there, like, it would probably return to him, but maybe only in a week or so. So I had decided to balance my taking of the nut card by leaving him 2 clementines. And I don't know, I thought it was funny because I kind of there's this parallel to the balls, to the scrotum balls. Just in thinking of this no nut card, of this nutty card. And I wrote as well that to keep the balance of the universe, I take the card as payment, as reward, but I leave behind the 2 fruits. And so I put the the note in the purse, gave it to the secretary, and gave the secretary only one fruit for ensuring that she gets the object to its rightful owner. And then I left. Yeah. So this story, this chain of events, I found it very interesting because it showed that in the pursuit of righteousness, in the pursuit of balance even, you will face certain preconceptions. You will face the seeds of doubt and seeds of fear that have been planted by generations prior. And the seeds, they have taken root. They have formed stems, and they affect the thoughts, the mind of the people in such a way that I felt bad for wanting to give this shy boy a fruit. I felt bad because I had forgotten that this act of loving kindness could be interpreted as something predatory. The evil stranger that is here to kidnap you. So this was kind of the introduction for my next recording, where I will try to attune myself with dissonance. So for today, I wish you a fruity day. Full of the splendor of orange.